right, 25 minutes before 11 o'clock. Thank you for tuning in this Monday morning. We haven't heard from Charlotte Reed and Dr. Michael Fleck in a long time. They were scheduled a few times, but they forgot to call in. Today they remembered, right? That we have them on the phone. And they're at the Westminster Kennel Club Dog Show at Madison Square Garden. Is that where they are?
Yep.
Hold on. Well, how come your microphone's not working now? Let me make sure I get everybody else. Charlotte Reed and Dr. Michael Fleck are the dynamic pet duo. I think we knew Charlotte before she met Dr. Fleck. I'm not really sure. But good morning, Charlotte and Dr. Fleck. How are you?
Good morning.
I don't know what to say. What kind of introduction is that? You're our fave.
That was a good one.
I'm going to blame it on Heather.
Yeah.
She screwed up the time.
Oh, too funny. Too funny. But you still haven't come here yet. We're still waiting for you.
In studio.
Let me tell you something. It's so friggin' cold here. We wish we were there with you right now.
Well, do you still live in Sarasota or did you move back to New York?
No. We're up here for the dog show.
Right.
But no.
And yes, she still lives in Sarasota.
What about you? I thought you lived with her. No? You don't live together?
Of course he does. But
Okay.
you know, the nice thing is that we're lucky enough that we have this apartment in New York. So for things that are in New York, like the NBA All-Stars, the Westminster Kennel Club Dog Show, the New York Car Show, we can stay in the apartment.
Yeah, we're competing. The Westminster show is competing with the NBA All-Star group.
Who's winning?
Wow.
Who's winning right now?
Right now, it's the dog.
Aren't dogs the best animals? I mean, I was thinking about, I love cats too, but dogs are really, I know everybody loves their horses around here, but dogs are really that's his best invention, right? Aside from women. I think women and dogs.
Yeah, right. I agree.
Let's see, are we going to have a vote on that or what? I like dogs.
And his daughters are listening.
That's right.
Well, how have you both been? It's been a while. I don't know how long it's been, but how have you been?
We've missed you, and it has been a while, but we hope that we're going to be able to visit with you more frequently.
Did you really miss us? I mean, how does that manifest itself?
You have no idea. We used to say to our publicist, we're not going to mention, we'll call her HH. Okay? And that's not Harry. We used to say, where's Larry and Robin?
Where's Larry and Robin?
Where's Larry and Robin? And I would say, wait, well, why are we calling them and they're booked with somebody else?
Boy, you can tell she's back in New York.
Where's Larry and Robin?
Yeah. That was like
we miss you guys.
Yeah, well, we missed hearing from you. We're always disappointed when it's on the schedule, and I'm looking at the little green light. It doesn't come on. What happened to that?
I know, it's sad.
Well, a few times I think there was a problem with the scheduling. It was written down wrong. Like I said, let's be politically correct and just blame it all on the publicist.
Oh,
that
no.
of course we're paying every month. No, we actually do miss you guys because you are our faves.
Well, and we're glad that you're on a longer period of time, because I said to Robin, we always run out of time because we talk about everything else besides the topic at hand.
Yes.
So we'll get the topic at hand. So what would it be like? You know, it says here, my first question that you provided me to ask you, I love when you do that, by the way, is why should that thing, the Westminster Kennel Club Dog Show, be on a dog lover's bucket list? But I actually was thinking this before I read that thing. I was thinking this is something I've always wanted to go to. So what is it like to be there? Is it started yet?
Yes, and it is a great thing to be on. And last year was my first year here, if you'll recall our conversation. But it starts on Saturday, and they introduced the agility program to the Westminster Dog Show. And that's really an exciting thing. And it also, by bringing that in, it brought the opportunities of not having to have just purebreds for the whole dog show.
Oh, really?
So that's a separate event, and it was completed on Saturday, and they have the champion for that. And thinking of being Ocala, thinking of horses, thinking of racing, etc., thinking of athletes, they are some great athletes that are competing for the agility championship. Then today they start the best in breed, which leads to the best in group, which in turn leads to the best in show. And
See how much Dr. Flex has learned in a year? I'm so impressed. I'm sitting here and I'm like, okay, that's good. That sounds really good. That sounds. I mean, last year, it's funny because in vet school, they learn about the dogs, of course, but it's a whole other thing when you're actually looking at all the specific breeds. So occasionally, I have an English Toy Spaniel. I have 4 of them, and they look like Cavaliers. So
Cavaliers?
Cavalier King Charles Spaniels.
Okay.
So remember
I was picturing Pirates of the Penzance. I was picturing Pirates of Penzance.
Right. Okay. So anyway, people would always say, you go to a vet and they say, oh, I've never seen a Cavalier that looks like that. And I'm like, well, they don't teach you about all the breeds in vet school. And then, of course, the vet would shut up. But yeah, so, look, there's 192 breeds and varieties. So, for example, a breed is like a golden retriever. And then when you look at varieties, like, for example, with a dachshund, you have short coat, long coat, and wire-haired. So that's 3 different, varieties. So you have all of these great dogs in this one great place. So it really is a dog lover's dream, because whether you like big or small or shaggy or, perfectly well-groomed or grooming that you can't even fathom, with little bonbons on its butt and knees and hocks and everything else. There really is something for every particular taste and lifestyle.
Do you get to pet them? Are you allowed to touch?
Yeah.
Or is it like those other places in New York where it says no touching?
Yeah.
Well, it depends.
Put your quarter in the slot.
and I think that's a great question, because it depends. One of the greatest things about Westminster for 139 years is that it is one of the last bench shows in the country. And the term bench used to mean that the dogs were tied to a bench. And the whole idea when the founders of the dog club actually came up with this, it was a bunch of guys who used to hunt, and they were sitting at their old watering hole, the Westminster Hotel, and that's where they came up with the idea, was that the general public could come and see the dogs. So the dogs literally come in the morning, and they have to be there on the benches from about 8 to about 5 o'clock.
Oh.
All right. So the general public, and they're not tied to benches anymore, of course, so the general public can come and see the dog and see the dogs. And, each year new breeds are added. So there's always something new at Westminster.
Really? So do we have organically modified dogs? How do new breeds happen? How does that happen?
You mean DNA engineering?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Do we have that? How do new breeds happen? I didn't know that could happen.
Well, it's a very long and lengthy process, and it really starts with how many people in the United States. It's not done by Westminster. It's done by the American Kennel Club, the AKC. And they start out with how many people, is there a club here, and how many people are committed to the breed. Then they look at foundation stock, and it's a whole process. It takes quite a few years. But this year we have the Couton de Talar, which is a very lively, friendly dog. It's great for an apartment. It's great for kids. But it has a really thick, cottony coat. It's officially the official dog of Madagascar. So some people can keep it in that long coat, but it's a lot of grooming, or you can clip it. And then you also have the wire-haired Vizsla, and we've seen the regular smooth coat, short-hair Vizslas. They're very athletic. So if you like to sit home on the couch and eat popcorn and your normal pint of Haagen-Dazs, the dog is not for you.
The normal pint of Haagen-Dazs.
That's what women do. We just sit there and we do eat just, all the ice cream up until it's gone. I love that.
This one does.
Yeah.
This one.
I'm sitting here with a yogurt.
Are you at Madison Square Garden right now, or are you still in your hotel?
No, we're
your
at the
apartment?
Piers, 92, 94.
That's where you were last year, at the pier. What's that?
Right.
Is that
at
where
the pier? That's where they have the breeds during the day.
Okay.
Is that in the Lower West Side? Where is that?
It's on the Lower West Side near the West Side Highway, and let me tell you how cold it is.
Oh, and there's a big.
Because it's freezing over here.
Robin was there. What was that ship you visited? There's a ship right there.
The Intrepid.
That's it, the Intrepid, yes.
Yeah.
That's the name of it. It's great. So do all the dogs stay at the pier during the duration of the competition?
Well, they go back and forth to their hotels, but some of them actually do stay at the piers. Mm-hmm. Because, some of the professional handlers come with, more than, 4 or 5 dogs, depending on, how many dogs they're showing in the various different breeds. And then, of course, at night, the action is all about Madison Square Garden.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, if you
So
go
that's what you see on TV.
could you guys call me up when you're in Times Square? I want to look at you in the webcam.
Well, Times Square is a far distance from Madison Square Garden, and there's no way that I'm walking.
You don't want to walk down there?
Yeah.
You
Not
can take
even
a
to see
cab.
the naked
Yeah, but
cowboy.
I can't find a webcam for the docks you're at. I'm looking for a webcam on this EarthCam thing. I'm looking to see if I can get you to wave at me.
Well, first of all, the piers are on the west side.
I know.
In the 50s. Times Square is,
Oh, I know, but I'm saying the only camera I can find is in Times Square. I can't find one where you are.
Oh, okay. Okay.
When the different dogs compete in this Westminster Dog Show, do they have to go through competitions first, regionally, and then state before they can even consider being entered in this one?
Well, what's really interesting is there are 2,711 dogs that are entered. The top 5 dogs in 192 breeds and varieties are invited. They receive an invitation to compete. Of course, they don't all compete. Now, other dogs, of course, who are champions, that was the rule for a long time, which meant they were champions. They were, quote-unquote, finished. They had 15 points. Now, as long as your dog has about 4 points, he can compete at Westminster. So some dogs actually try to finish at Westminster if they win their breed. But the competition is so overwhelming because you do have dogs from all over the country. Doc, how many dogs are coming from Florida?
You call him Doc?
Doc.
Yeah.
That's a pet term.
Okay.
That's a pet term.
And she calls me that all the time.
Okay. All right.
It's her pet
Well,
term.
most of the time.
There's 145 dogs coming from Florida, so we got a good shot at maybe being a winner. But I think what's really interesting is the way that you asked that question. Do they compete?
What? Do I call you Doc all the time?
No, not that. When you ask the question about do they compete statewide and then do they move up, you may not even compete in the state that you reside in.
Oh, really?
If you're from Florida, you may be competing in Georgia or North Carolina. It's just a matter of generating the amount of points and really, it's so important to think about this just like you would think about the horse racing and the Derby. You've got a jockey, and the jockey has to be very, very, very talented and be able to communicate well with that horse. And here you've got to have a handler. Now, you could be your own handler and try to move yourself up, but quite frankly, the handlers that win and the dogs that win this show are the ones that are experts and that have been around for a long time, most of them.
Oh, really?
And they're just so talented. They just have the abilities and instinct to know how they need to carry that individual. And, of course, the better handlers aren't going to be showing a dog that isn't already determined to be one of the better confirmation dogs.
Okay, now after listening to that political correct version, I'm going to give you the
Oh,
inside
no.
scoop. Okay, so the answer to your question is, yes, you can own a dog, and your dog never compete in your state. Now, I'm going to digress into cats for a second. So I've had 3 cats, all finished champions. My cat finally competed in New York State because he had to with CFA. But one of the things that's interesting with the dogs is, let's say you live in Florida and your handler lives in California. So if professional handlers and seasoned experts tend to go where they like the judges. So with horse racing, you kind of really can't do that because it's really you're racing against each other. And in dog showing, it's the judge picking the winner.
So this is more subjective. There's
Well, yes and no, because you have to remember that all dogs are supposed to be judged against the standard. And the standard of the breed is set by the American Kennel Club. What is the ideal dog? A sound body and temperament. So the standard is written by authorities in the breed and the AKC, and sometimes obviously the look of the dog has changed over the years, but really when that judge goes in the ring, and that's why it's very, very difficult to be a judge, because not only, maybe you started years ago in showing a specific dog, but then you have to know almost every single dog and every single breed and variety. So, and just like athletes, they have good days and bad days. And what I mean by that is, think about Jerry Butler. Whoever heard of him before he caught that massive interception? Did I say that right, Larry?
Interception sounded right, yeah. That word interception sounded good, yeah.
Right, and then you look at somebody like, or you look like someone last year like Peyton Manning in the Super Bowl,
right.
who, Richard Sherman, I guess now reads lips, and so he had a bad day last year. So a dog can be perfect. Like last year in Best in Show, we had this great Min Pin, and he did so well, but he gets nervous at big shows with all the people. He has a nervous personality by nature. So at a big show where the people are clapping and woo, screaming, he broke gait. So he didn't show his best.
Oh, poor dog.
So yes, it's subjective, but then again... or a few years ago, we had a dog who pooped in the ring. So once he pooped in the ring, he wasn't going to win.
Oh, no. Oh, that's not fair.
He was nervous.
No. Yeah. Of course. Nervous stomach.
Yeah.
Pooped in the ring. It's a dog thing.
Ring.
Yeah.
It's
that never happens in football. I never saw.
No, Larry. It's a dog thang. It's a dog thang. It's a dog thang.
So it sounds like there's some showmanship involved for the humans, right?
It shouldn't be, but have you? And you mentioned the subjective judging, because it is subjective. If somebody's not going across that finish line first, it's very subjective in its interpretation. So there is no way that can't have some factor in determining who the winner is.
Charlotte, you're at the bottom of that cup. There's no more yogurt.
That's right. I'm done.
I can hear it.
No more yogurt.
You're just going for that last little taste.
I did.
Was that strawberry? Was that strawberry at the bottom of that thing?
No, I got to tell you. See, that's why I love being with you and Robin, because I can really be myself. I can talk about the dog show, and I can eat a Liberté yogurt.
Hold on, you got a little thing right there on your lip. You see it? You got a little thing.
I know. Dr. Fleck just pointed.
Oh.
And, I have to tell you, I bring my yogurt, and I bring my own spoon. I can't use the plastic.
No, you got to bring your own spoon. People think you're on drugs when you do that.
Are there veterinarians on staff during the entire event, or does each person bring their own veterinarian for their own dog?
There are show veterinarians. There's veterinarians that come from, I believe it's the Animal Medical Center.
That's right. They come from the Animal Medical Center. But you know what? People, go ahead, Doc. Sorry.
And they offer their time and support and care, make sure that the health of all the individual pets are cared for, and if there's any accidents, they're Johnny on the spot to be able to take care of it.
But people do bring their own security guards.
Oh, I can understand that.
So who is David Frye? Who is he? David Frye
is a breeder, owner, handler who has showed dogs champion Afghans, and he is the voice of Westminster. So he's the voice, and he's also, for about 30 years, at Westminster Kennel Club, and he is the publicist for the dog show.
He's also the host that you'll be looking
at. That's what I said.
Yeah, on
I said that. You'll hear him on TV.
So is he running solo, or does he or does he have a sexy woman in a ball gown as a co-host?
Sexy woman. Do you call Mary Carillo sexy?
Oh, now I got to look her up.
You remember her. She was the doubles partner for John McEnroe. Need I say more? She's very nice.
Okay.
It's what we always say, Doc and I go through these things. Sometimes I'm the banana, and sometimes he's the banana.
Mm-hmm.
So, Mary's like the banana. She's like the second, She asks those great questions. Now, David, tell me about the Chinese crested and why it has no hair.
So she's fed her questions.
Well, but there have been some great hosts over the years, and I know, Mary's been with David for 6 years, but I have to tell you, I think, and I know this, one of his favorite hosts was Joe Garagiola.
Oh, that must have been fun. That must have been a lot of fun.
Any chance that you'll ever be the co-host?
I wish. Can you imagine? Can you see me now? I would have the sexy purple
I think
gown.
you'd be the host.
Yes, you would.
I think you'd take over.
There's no question about that.
I can only dream. I mean, it's so funny because they really do need to hip up the show a little bit. I mean, really.
What would
they
you
had
do?
Debbie Turner. What would I do other than wear the beautiful, sexy gown from God knows Marc Jacobs, Fendi? I mean,
And be yourself.
I'd be myself, because a lot of people want to know, questions like, how do you wash that dog? I mean, how do you take care of that dog?
If I ever go, I want to go with you. Here's why. When I'm looking at the pictures right now, it looks very snooty. It looks to me like I'd feel uncomfortable because everybody would be hushing me, like I'd be too noisy.
Yeah.
But if I was with you, I think I'd feel comfortable.
I'm known. There's some people who run over, and there's some people who run the other way when they see me. But that's okay. I've been going to the show let's say I've been going to the show since I was 5.
Really?
Okay. My dad, this is why I started going when I was 5 because it's when my dad could let me go in the bathroom by myself. So that's when I was, because we would watch it on the television, but when I was 5, I could go into the ladies' room, obviously take me into the ladies' room, or I couldn't go into the men's room.
Right.
So once I could go by myself, and my dad, every year, it was the same thing. We'd stand out on the steps of Madison Square Garden, because up until 2 years ago, the whole show was at Madison Square Garden, and he'd stand on the steps, and he'd adjust my neck collar, and he'd say, now remember, whatever you do, I know you're going to get really excited, but remember, you must ask permission to touch the dogs. And that kind of goes back to your question, can you touch the dogs?
Right,
and yes, you can touch the dogs, but you always want to ask, because
you can touch the dog's butt. Is that what she said?
Yes.
But if somebody hasn't gone in the ring yet, they will not let you touch their dog. Or, somebody might say, can you do me a favor and come back later because I'm getting ready to go into the ring.
Okay. All right.
They're like athletes, so they want to have their concentration. And later when you can come back, they'll let you touch the dog. Like, I'll send you guys a picture. One of the best pictures I took on Saturday were these 2 little girls petting this Cocker Spaniel that was competing in agility.
Oh, that does sound cute.
And it was cute. It was like one of those moments. And that's what this show was all about. The fact that people can come and learn more about the dogs.
Dr. Fleck, I have a question for you. Charlotte mentioned the ladies' room. I have a question. I've been in Madison Square Garden. It's been a long time.
In the ladies' room?
No, in the men's room. I have a question.
What are you doing in the ladies' room?
Listen. Troughs or urinals? What do they have now?
Urinals.
Okay.
Oh,
do you remember?
I don't know.
Do you remember the day of the
because I haven't
trough?
been in there.
Do you remember the day of the trough when you could? It was like a big sink. It was crazy.
That's like I have in my house.
Yeah.
Oh, you have that in your house?
Do people bet on this show?
It depends who you talk to now. So here's the thing. John Avello at the Wynn Sportsbook for the last few years always puts the stats together. Most of the time he's right. So this year his odds are 4-1 for the Portuguese water dog, and that's pretty good because the dog's come close twice. He's been in the best in show ring twice. I'm sure, if you call your bookie, Larry, you might, he'll take your action. I mean, most people will bet on anything.
Charlotte and Dr. Fleck, we got a minute left. Your book is Miss Fido Manners. You want to promote that real quickly? The book is out there.
Sure. Dogs are such a big part of our lives. They go everywhere with you. Miss Fido Manners tells you how to be a doggy ambassador wherever you go. And I have to tell you, I'm looking up to see the urinals in Madison Square Garden.
Dr. Fleck hasn't used them yet.
I'm going to send you a picture.
Okay. All right.
I just found it at the garden, so I'm going to send you a picture. And you can't see anything in the picture, but you'll see it. I'll post it. I'm going to send it to your phone.
Well, as long as they graduated from troughs, because it's been years. All right. Thank you both. Is there a place online? CharlotteReed.com is Charlotte's website. Is there a place online where we can see the show?
Yeah, go to the Westminster Kennel Club website, and you can watch the live stream all ringside, and you can also get the app. The app's $1.99.
Oh, that sounds cool.
And DPD for our great pictures, including pictures of the urinals at Madison Square Garden. And the great dog.
Dr. Fleck, Michael Fleck, you guys are awesome. I can't wait for you to come into the studio. We've got to run, but thank you so much for being on the air with us today.
Thanks
you.
for
It's been
having
our
us.
pleasure.
I'm Pat O'Neill. It's not just the Northeast and Midwest. A big storm bringing a wintry dose of snow, sleet, and ice to much of the South. And Tennessee, which could get up to 9 inches of snow, Shelby County's Dale Lane says.
Our roads department did a great job getting it out and preparing, but right now they're extremely dangerous.
Advisories also up for Georgia, Kentucky, Alabama, and Mississippi, among other states. A ceasefire in Ukraine that started Sunday is seen as shaky at best.
Probably the biggest problem is the important transport hub of Debaltseve. 8,000 Ukrainian troops, 5,000 civilians inside. They are surrounded by Russian-backed rebels, plus tanks, rockets, and artillery, which has been pounding the place even stronger than before the ceasefire.
Fox's Greg Palcott in Kiev. U.S. and coalition forces have conducted 2 airstrikes against ISIS in Syria and 13 in Iraq, all within the last 24 hours. Fox News. We report, you decide.
You're running your business, and we at Wix.com know things can get stressful. But creating your website doesn't have to be. With Wix, you can create a professional website all by yourself. It's easy and free. You don't have to be a programmer. Just drag and drop everything into place. It's your website, your style. Show the world what you can do. Go to Wix.com and create your own stunning website today. It's easy and free.
When you sit in your comfortable ergonomic chair, do you experience inner peace? Are you known for admiring desks like profound works of art? If so, you might be gear-centric, someone who knows that the right office gear helps you do great things. And at Office Depot and Office Max, we have the quality gear you need. Visit our President's Day furniture sale and save 40% on select desks, chairs, bookcases, and more. Office Depot and Office Max. Gear up for great. Offer ends 2/21.
It's time for Farm and Ranch headlines on the Southeast AgNet. I'm Tyron Spearman reporting. Dr. Bill Branch